Okay, so I'm going to show you how to mix my version of sourdough bread by hand. And so the first thing that we start out doing is we start out scaling the water. And we need 554 grams of water. And so I'm gonna tare this scale. My water is at 73 degrees, and I want my dough temperature to be 76 degrees when I'm done. And so my water is a little cooler than the final desired dough temperature, only because I'm going to be kneading the dough and adding a little bit of heat in. So I'm going to scale out 554 grams of water. Perfect. Now, the next ingredient in sourdough bread is a sourdough starter. And so I made my sourdough starter about 12 hours ago. And so it's been growing overnight. And so if you can see the bubbles on the surface of the sourdough starter, and they're starting to get frothy and form little valleys, and that's a perfect sign of ripeness. And this sourdough starter is made from a percentage of 125% water to 100% flour, and then a very, very small amount of existing sourdough starter. So I think that my sourdough starter was about 25 grams of sourdough starter, and then about 300 grams of flour, and then the equivalent, take 300 grams times 1.25 to get the equivalent amount of water. And to check to make sure that your sourdough is ready to use, you want to do what is called a float test. And we'll use the water that we haven't scaled to do the float test. So wet your fingers so that the dough doesn't stick to your fingers. And then you're going to take a little bit of the dough, and it should float on the top. And that's an indication that it's right, because what happens when you're making the sourdough starter is the natural yeasts are fermenting and they're producing carbon dioxide. And so the sourdough starter is filled with carbon dioxide and also alcohol, and it's the carbon dioxide that's causing the dough to float to the top. So that's a sign that your sourdough starter is ready to go. And so we're going to scale out 405 grams, or about 40% of the weight of the flour. And we can just 405 grams. And see how it's floating? That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. Perfect. Okay, so you're going to take your liquid ingredients and you're going to add them to 900 grams of bread flour and 120 grams of rye flour. And this is a stone ground rye flour, and so you can see the speckles of the flour, and I think that that's really beautiful and adds a really beautiful flavor and substance to the bread. So what I do is I sort of combine the two flours, and then I'm going to make a well, and I'm going to pour the sourdough starter and the water into the center. And then this is my salt, and my salt is, let me just check, it's 23 grams of salt. It's sea salt. I'm going to hold this to the side. We're not going to add the salt right away. What we're going to do is we're going to mix the dough, and then we're going to do what is a process called autolyse, and we're going to let the dough rest for 20 to 30 minutes. And what happens during autolyse is that resting period when salt's not present helps the gluten to form in the bread. And you get better gluten development if you let the dough rest before adding the salt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of, like you're making pasta, you're going to start swirling your hand clockwise to bring in all of the dry ingredients. And as I'm swirling it around, at this point, I'm sort of doing some squeezing too, because I really want to incorporate all those dry ingredients. And I have one hand in the dough and one hand is sort of on the outside of the bowl, and I always try to keep my left hand clean. And I'm really going to try to work the dough to really get all of the dry incorporated. And right now it looks like a shaggy mess, but if we keep working it, we can incorporate all of the dry ingredients. And I think at this point I'm just going to get both hands in there to really bring up those dry ingredients. Okay, so I just want to hydrate my flour with the water and the sourdough starter, and that's going to start the autolyse process of hydrating the flour and helping the gluten to form. So now at this point, I'm not going to knead the dough, but I'm going to set it aside. And as I set it aside, I'm going to sprinkle my salt on the top of the dough, and that will help the salt to dissolve, and it will be easier to incorporate. So we're just going to set this aside for 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so my sourdough has been autolysing for about 20 minutes, and the salt's on top of it. So I've got all of my ingredients here. I don't have to add anything else, but now I'm going to start kneading my dough. So I'm going to scoop it out of the bowl. I'm going to get, if there's a little salt, make sure the salt comes with the dough. And now I'm going to start kneading it. And I'm going to knead it, I'm going to sort of fold it over itself, and I'm pushing away with the palms of my hands. And I'm going to do this until I've developed the gluten. And I'm going to show you what I mean by the gluten being developed after I've been kneading this for about, I would say about 5 minutes. And if there's any little bits of, these are little bits of salt, I just sort of scoop them up into my dough, and I keep kneading. Okay, so this sourdough I've kneaded for about 7 minutes. I've done my window pane test. I've seen that the gluten has developed, and so now I'm just going to lightly oil the bowl that the dough was in, and I'm going to place the dough in the bowl, and the dough is going to ferment for 2.5 hours, and we're going to give it a fold halfway through. And basically a fold is like punching the dough down. It's just a very organized way of punching and degassing the dough so that it distributes the yeast. And I'm going to cover my bowl with a towel. Okay, so our sourdough bread has been fermenting for about 1.25 hours, and we're going to turn it now. And turning simply means punching it down. So you can see there's been some growth and activity. So I'm going to wet my hands, and I'm going to give it what is called a turn or a fold. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it like a letter. And then I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and fold it like a letter again. And then I'm going to take it and flip it upside down. So you can see it looks like a nice package, and that just helps redistribute the yeast. And so we're going to let the dough ferment for another 1.25 hours before we divide and shape the dough. Okay, so now our sourdough bread, our dough, has been proofing for 2.5 hours, and it got a turn at 1.25 hours. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to divide it. And the easiest way I divide the dough is just to, get it to come out onto a lightly floured surface. And then I just eyeball it, and you're going to divide it evenly into 2 pieces. And then, because I'm going to shape these into rounds, I'm not going to try to pre-shape them. I'm just going to very directly and gently shape them into rounds. And I like to use these baskets that are lined with linen. And you can see that I've used them before because they have a little bit of residual flour on them, and that sort of helps temper the linen whenever you're using it so that the dough doesn't stick to it. The first time you want to use a linen-lined basket like this, you want to take some flour, and I generally like to use rye flour, and just sort of sprinkle the inside of the basket with a very nice coating of rye flour, about like that, so it doesn't stick. And I'm going to do the same with this basket, just like a gentle light coating of the flour on the bottom and the sides as much as possible. And you could also use all sorts of baskets. This is called a banneton, and it's a wicker basket, and it sort of works the same way. It's a coiled wicker, and you could just sprinkle the flour gently on the surface of this. And I don't really worry about moistening this surface. I just, try to get a nice coating of flour on it. And here's another nice example of an oblong basket. So this dough could easily be shaped into an oblong shape and proof in an oblong basket. So to shape this dough, I'm going to take a little bit of my all-purpose bench flour, and I'm just really going to gently fold the dough over, basically like I'm folding it again, and then I'm going to sort of start to round it. And I can see that this is a little dry and that my dough has a little bit of a dry surface to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly wet my hands. And just that little bit of moisture is going to help me do the final shape of this dough. And I'm just going to sort of tighten the dough up, and I'm rotating it 90 degrees as I go, and I'm cupping it. And so that is called a round or a boule shape. And I'm going to take that round, I'm going to get underneath it, and I'm going to put the top on the bottom of the basket and let it seam side up. And that's how it's going to proof. And then what I'm going to do with this basket now is I'm going to put a piece of plastic over the surface of it. I like to use like a little shopping bag, a plastic shopping bag, to cover the surface so that it's sort of enclosed and so it doesn't dry out on the surface. And then I put this in my refrigerator and I let it stay in the refrigerator overnight, probably a maximum of up to 18 hours. And that's called retarding. And I love to retard sourdough bread because it helps add another dimension of flavor. Anytime you put anything in the refrigerator, it slows down the fermentation and it helps to develop a beautiful flavor that way. And so I'm going to shape this piece of bread the same way. I'm just going to fold it and start tucking it, and then I'm going to sort of, using the friction of the table, my hands are really rolling down towards me, and that friction is what's creating the tension in the dough. And then once I have my loaf shaped, I'm going to take it, and the seam is going to stay up and the top is going to be on the bottom, and that is how I shape sourdough loaves into round boules. Okay, so this loaf of bread was retarded overnight in the refrigerator, and I'm going to just pull the plastic off of it. And you can see that the bread has grown a little bit in volume in the refrigerator, and that's because the bread takes a little bit of time to cool down as it's in the refrigerator. And so by the time it reaches about 41 degrees, it will stop growing. And so we're going to bake this now. And when we bake it, we're going to load it into a Dutch oven. Or you could use, I like to use a cast iron pan with a lid on the top. And so to load it in, the first thing I do is I dust the surface of the bread with, you can use, I like to use a nice coarse rye flour, but you could also use like a wheat bran. Anything that sort of adds a little bit of friction so the top of the surface isn't sticky anymore. So I'm just going to dust the top of the surface of the bread with the rye flour. We're going to bake the bread in a preheated 500 degree oven, and you're going to preheat the oven with the Dutch oven or the cast iron pan already in the oven so that the pan and the Dutch oven are hot. And so when you're using the oven, just be very careful because you've got a very hot pan. Carefully lift the lid off of it. And all you need to do is just sort of wiggle the bread loose, sort of into the palm of your hand, and then let it drop into the oven. So you have your lame, or you could use a sharp knife or any kind of like razor blade, and you're going to score the bread. And then with your mitts, just carefully put the lid back on. And then I can just go ahead and do this one. I'm going to dust this one very lightly with the rye flour. Be very careful when you're removing the lid. It's very hot. Use your hand to jiggle the loaf of bread out of the basket. And then score the bread. And then with your mitts, the lid goes back on. And then you're going to bake the bread for 20 minutes before you take the lids off of the pans. Okay, so our timer just went off and the loaves have been baking with their lids on them for 20 minutes. So we're going to check on our loaves and we're going to take the lids off at the same time. And what happens when you're taking the lid off, what that allows is when you have the lid on, you're capturing all of the steam into the pot, and it helps to steam the bread. And you need to steam the bread because it lets the bread, rise up very beautifully when there's steam present. But then at a certain point, you need your loaves to brown, and so you want the bread to start to dry out. And so at this point, we're going to check on our loaves and we're going to take the lids off so that they can start to brown. Great. There is a little steam when you take the lid off, so just be very careful when you're handling this. And you've got a nice little bit of browning, and that's exactly what you want when you take the lid off. Here's our second loaf. Just very gently take the lid off. And so at this point, I have been baking them at 500 degrees. And so what you want to do is turn the temperature down to 450, and I continue baking them. I'm going to check them after 15 more minutes and sort of see what their progress is like. Okay, so the sourdough bread has been in the oven for 45 minutes, and I'm going to check on it. And I can see it's a really, really beautiful golden brown. I want this type of color. And then I'm going to use my hot mitts and lift the bread out of the pan just carefully. And I'm going to do a tapping test on the bottom of the loaf, and I'm listening for a hollow sound, and that's how I know that enough moisture has evaporated out of the bread. Oh, that's a great sound. So this bread is done. And I'm going to just set it here on my cooling rack so it can cool down. I'm going to check my other loaf. This is the one that was baking in the Dutch oven, and it is also beautiful golden brown. I'm going to reach in there, and I'm going to do a tap test on this one, and I love how that sounds. And what's beautiful about this bread is that it's like a beautiful mahogany, and what causes the bread to turn this color has a lot to do with the fermentation, and it has a lot to do with the fact that we retarded this bread overnight. And then I love how it has opened up into the score, and that's another sign too that this is a sourdough bread and that it's had a long fermentation. And then I don't know if you can notice this, but there are these beautiful little pocky marks on the side of the bread and all across the surface, and just looks really beautiful burnished color. And that's also because we retarded the bread overnight in our refrigerator. So I'm going to let these loaves of bread cool down. And that's how you bake sourdough bread.